People asking on our video on last Sunday saying we should tell you when we are doing the Sunday News Roundup, because like, this is the Sunday News Roundup and they don't know what day it is when it's Sunday apparently, because they need us to put it in the title or something like that. This is Sunday. This is the Sunday News Roundup.
My name's Gareth.
I put that in the title last Sunday and none of you watched it for about 3/4 of an hour. I changed the title and then a lot more people started watching it. Let's have a deal. Let's strike another deal here, right? I'll put it in the title, okay? Sometime in the future. Maybe this one. Who knows? Who knows? I'm crazy like that, all right? You just can't predict me. So I'll do that in the future at some point. And then if you watch it, then great, we'll stick with it. But you've got to watch it for me to do it. Because if no one's watching it, I'm not doing it. Because that's the whole job. That's what we're doing here. Is getting you to watch these, which is important.
You just can't predict me. Mike Williams, 2017.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Xbox One X has dominated the gaming headlines this week as Microsoft hit the stage at Gamescom to give their new console one last push. The Green Team weren't exactly showered with praise for the rather lackluster presentation though, the highlight of which was Xbox's Major Nelson stroking a limited edition One X in a pair of white gloves. But Major Nelson's QVC sales pitch clearly seemed to work. The limited Project Scorpio edition console sold out in multiple outlets within a few hours. But in a few days since pre-orders went live for the Xbox One X, the console is already higher than the PS4 Pro on Amazon's bestseller list for 2017 to date, as spotted by Nikko Partners analyst Daniel Ahmad. Significant considering the PS4 Pro has been on sale all year while the pre-orders only opened for the One X this week. Totally unbiased source Windows Central states that according to their sources, general Xbox One X stocks are predicted to last 1 week and the console is sold out in many retailers already. We of course won't have any concrete Xbox One X sales and pre-order numbers until Microsoft decide to share them, but so far the signs are positive. The Scorpio edition selling out, obviously because people don't want to call it the Xbox One X, which is the shittest name. They want to call it the Scorpio. Why didn't they stay with Scorpio, Mike? It's such a better name.
It might have been a smart decision. I think what they've done is be too smart for their own good with Xbox One X, because you shorten Xbox One to XBO and then you add an X to the end of that and, what do you know, it's Xbox. But there already is an Xbox console, and the whole brand is called Xbox. But this news is definitely good for Microsoft. They'd want this kind of impact when they were the One X, like for it to come out and make a big splash and to excite people. Like we were talking in yesterday's video about Gamescom and how they announced it and what the purpose of that conference, that Microsoft conference was. And it was a sales pitch for the One X because they were announcing the pre-orders. So it was like, here's the One X, look how awesome it is, this is what you can play on it, please pre-order it right now. And then, you had Major Nelson going, look at it, look how sexy this thing is, please pre-order it. And that's,
you put some hits in there, yeah.
I'm an actor, man. You know what I mean? It's performance, isn't it? And it's
Wait for the Koch story.
But Major Nelson was trying to persuade everyone to buy the Project Scorpio edition, and a lot of people did. It sold out immediately. Does that really say that it?
Oh no, it's headlines, isn't it? That's exactly what they wanted. They could have allocated 10 units per store and sold out rather quickly just to get those headlines. So it makes you wonder whether they did it on purpose, just to make it like a bit more like, oh, everyone wants to get their hands on it.
And there's something to that theory because it was available again a couple of days later, and then it was sold out again. So that they're controlling the release of the stocks. But overall, the point is, it obviously is selling. It is it is going, and there's positive headlines for it, and that's good, that's great. We'll get some numbers to see exactly how good it's doing before it comes out, or even when it comes out. Congratulations, Microsoft, I guess. Elsewhere in the news, Brink, a 6-year-old game that was doing multiplayer shooter flops before Battleborn was a shit idea in Randy Pitchford's head, went free to play on Steam this week. Yeah, for anyone still waiting around to play Brink, but didn't want to spend £1 on it in a Steam sale, you can jump into it now, free of charge. Splash Damage's colourful, objective-focused game had some interesting twists when it came out in 2011, like free running, and it had a very distinct art style. Before it went free to play this week, it had as few as 4 concurrent players, as in 1, 2, 3, 4. The move to free-to-play gave it a real shot in the arm though, peaking at over 2,600 concurrent players on PC when it went live. Which, by the way, means Brink, the 6-year-old game with a Metacritic score of 68, now has more players than Lawbreakers and Battleborn combined.
Another really bad headline for Cliff Bleszinski and Lawbreakers. It doesn't seem to have picked up any traction at all since its launch. It's just like started off low and gotten lower, and it just speaks for the, like a lot of people saying, it's the oversaturation of these types of games on the market right now. And Brink being another one that's going free to play. A lot of people jumping on that. People don't even have to pay anything to play this game. So that another nail in the coffin of games like Lawbreakers and Battleborn.
The whole Brink thing just came totally out of the blue for me. It was just a tweet that I saw, like scrolling through the tweet, and Steam just went, "Oh, by the way, you can play Brink for free now." And that had more of an impact almost than Lawbreakers and Battleborn have had. And there's more people playing it and more people energized by Brink. Brink! They are more interested in that than Lawbreakers, which is a new game from Cliff Bleszinski. Pedigree. You know, Cliff Bleszinski is a great games designer, and his game isn't doing as well as Brink at the moment, which is wow.
Also in the news, the Mass Effect series could still return despite everything that happened with the series' latest installment, Andromeda. Speaking to Game Reactor this week, EA's Executive Vice President Patrick Sutherland confirmed there's no reason why Mass Effect won't be back. BioWare confirmed this week that support for Mass Effect Andromeda is over. The company's studio BioWare Montreal was even disbanded not long ago after the game's critical and commercial failure. Sutherland says though, there's still plenty of life in the Mass Effect universe yet. I see no reason why we shouldn't come back to Mass Effect, he said. Why not? It's a spectacular universe, it's a loved series, it has a big fan base, and it's a game that has done a lot for EA and for BioWare.
So Sutherland actually said a lot about Mass Effect here. He says he's personally a big fan of the game. I guess he would say that, but he also said that he thinks the criticism that was levelled towards Andromeda was unfair. He thinks some people were going a little bit too hard on it, which, I don't know, does he have a point? When things are disappointing, it kind of like magnifies the negative reviews, because, you know, if people are expecting it to be something and it's not, it's different when something is just a bit bad. It's a different thing, and I think that's what happened there, that people were disappointed as well as describing it as a bad game, so it just kind of amplifies that.
And memeing it to death.
And memeing the shit out of it. Elsewhere in the news, have you ever written a tweet and thought, what was the point of that? Who cares, mate? One woman who might disagree, though, is Hazel Monforton. She wrote a few tweets about a year ago on the topic of Dishonored, or rather a very particular aspect of Dishonored 2 and the character of the Outsider. Monforton compared the Outsider to Pharmakos, an ancient Greek ritual where a slave, disabled person, or a criminal becomes something of a scapegoat and is banished when things start going south. Dishonored game director Harvey Smith liked what she had to say so much, he actually hired her to write the dialogue for Dishonored Death of the Outsider, the new Dishonored standalone expansion. She had never worked on a game before, but her unique perspective on the character of the Outsider was enough to get her the job. It was like an essay, it was like a Twitter essay, I guess, so it was a really long thread. It was like 50 tweets long. You know, it's a long read. I don't know why it's done through the medium of Twitter like that, but obviously it was a fantastic idea because she's got a job out of it, and she is this kind of you know, journalist type who does a lot of various different writing things, like academic writing and stuff like this. This, however, was a pretty specific bit of video game writing that she's never done before, and just based off the strength of her tweets, she was offered a job as a writer on to write the dialogue in the thing that she was writing about, which is fantastic. I think that's a great story.
Also in the news, it was announced this week that the HTC Vive will be getting a pretty substantial price cut. The VR unit will drop from an RRP of $799 to $599 in a bid to make it more attractive to consumers, according to Viveport president Ricard Staber. It can't be a coincidence, however, that the Oculus Rift headset, the Vive's main rival, dropped in price by $100 to $499 recently, and has been on temporary discount for $399. It seems the hardware manufacturers are doing their best to get VR into people's hands now that early adopters are on board. And the software companies are now starting to hold up their end of the deal, or at least one company is. Bethesda this week revealed a slate of release dates for its lineup of proper, beefy gaming experiences heading to VR. Skyrim VR arrives on November the 17th for PSVR, Doom VFR arrives on December the 1st for PSVR and HTC Vive, and Fallout 4 arrives on HTC Vive on December the 12th. The VR is still, you know, trying its best to break mainstream. They're still trying to get as many units as possible into people's houses, and you know, this is a great way of doing it. We expected it to drop in price at some point. Now this is where it gets competitive, right? Because Oculus Rift dropped their price, HTC Vive dropped their price now. Great news that Bethesda are supporting the platform now by bringing out like versions of its most recent games, or most popular games at least, full VR experience. This is exactly what we want from the VR, not these tech demos and old shitty little like half games that you get in VR these days. This is a full-on Skyrim for VR, full-on Fallout 4, full-on Doom for VR. It looks really amazing, and that's exactly the kind of thing that I said that I wanted from VR when I first experienced playing my HTC Vive, and I will be definitely jumping on board for Fallout 4 when it comes out December the 12th. I've already got it in my diary.
And finally this week, it was announced that Conan Exiles, an upcoming MMO, most famous for having a dick size slider, is to be published by Koch Media. So it's like K-O-C-H.
It's German, and apparently it's a Koch Media.
German company.
I mean, we looked it up and everything. It's Koch Media. Don't tell us it's Koch. It's Koch Media.
It's not Koch.
So that was everything in the news this week that caught our eye outside of Gamescom, which we covered yesterday. Let us know what caught your eye down in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. There's another video for you to watch on the screen there. Support us on Patreon if you're awesome, and we'll see you again in the next video. Until then, bye for now.